So now there is a workaround, and every semester when I teach this slide, I hesitate because I feel like I'm almost doing a disservice to you by showing you this shortcut. Because most of the time, you should not use this. So I'm going to teach you something and then tell you to not use it. But it's important that you know it because there are a few times where it will save you loads and loads of work. And that is the global keyword. The global keyword changes all the rules about variable scope inside functions. If I add global x inside my function, what it says to this function is, if I mention this variable, we're not talking about your private inside the function only variable anymore. We're talking about the global x, the big X that lives outside the function. And so when I change x to 33 here, I'm changing x to 33. Now, the reason that people misuse global is because it feels a lot easier than using parameters, right? I don't have to use parameters. I can just use global, and then I'm out there like messing with all the variables in my whole program. I can do anything I want. It's sort of like an all access pass to the variables of your program. It feels easier. And sometimes it's a lot less work than using parameters in return. But what it does is it breaks your black box. And I'll show you how in just a second. So let's run this code, or I'm just going to change the code that we have here. Now remember, we had 20 and then 33 from inside the function, and this one was 20 because that variable outside the function was separate. But if I do this and add global x to this, what's it going to print here? 33. Because when I run this and it gets to this line of code after the global, it says x is now 33. And what that means is all instances of that variable are now 33. And so when it prints it here, after it exits the function, x is now 33 everywhere. So that's fine. But if I do this, I've destroyed my black box. I've destroyed my ability to use this super valuable function that I wrote anywhere else, because if there's not a global x, it's not going to work right. If there's not an x that lives outside that function, so it requires any program that I use this in now to have an x that lives outside the function. So I've messed up my ability to take this and put it in a module or use it other places, and it becomes less powerful. However, there are times, like if you have a lot of environment variables, if you have a lot of variables that live outside the function, and you need access to change those variables inside this function, adding them as globals is a lot easier than passing them in as parameters. But I would say use it very sparingly, right? Only when you absolutely have to. And for most of this class, by the way, I'm going to specify no global usage in all the assignments because I really want you to learn how to use parameters and return values. So that is global. Can be used, exists for a reason, but use it very sparingly.